Yes, it's going to be open on this Saturday, the 12th, at 1 o'clock. We're going to have a lecture by Walt Williams. Walt Williams' son, excuse me, Mark Philip Williams, and he's going to tell us about the early days of the Pahrump Ranch. And if you live in Pahrump, you should hear this, because this is the history of how this valley developed. Before, it was just a few farms, and after the Pahrump Valley became a cotton producer instead of just hay and alfalfa, then the land developments became the way for the people to farm money instead of crops. And so you'll want to come and hear about this. If you live here and you're interested in the history of the valley, you'll learn how that property was sold to Calvada and became the Calvada subdivision, 10,000 acres, the largest subdivision here, and all the other farmers subdivided, and the history goes from there. So don't miss that. Mark Philip Williams is coming from Oregon. He's our longest traveled lecturer, so be sure and be here. It's 1 o'clock. It's free. It's at the museum. It's in the new section of the museum, and afterwards we're going to have a presentation by the Yucca Valley people, the Yucca Mountain people, and you can see that as well.
And the museum this is going to be the official opening since what happened?
Well, we're not really officially opening. We're just opening because this is a special event. Right now we're in a new hiring mode. We're in a insurance quandary because we are now responsible for operating the museum, not totally separate from the county, but as a totally anonymous 501(c). We're very happy that we have a memo of understanding with the county now to operate in this method, but it takes a little time for us to get our feet on the ground. The county and the museum has signed an MOU last week at the commissioners meeting, and we have a full understanding of how we're going to go forward. As soon as we take care of the details, we'll open again for regular business.
And we don't know how long that's going to be.
I assume that will probably be several weeks before we can actually do that. We'll try and keep the very special events open. We still have permission from the county to use the museum for these special events.
What happened?
Well, what happened was we found ourselves in a position where there's a great deal of money that's given to us to operate by the county that's a result of the assessments on properties. In other words, when people pay tax on their property, they're paying for a contribution to the museum. We share the income from that assessment with the Tonopah Museum. The Tonopah Museum has the agreement to operate as a county museum. We were offered that opportunity. We preferred not to operate as a county museum, but as a 501(c), as a separate entity, which we have done since we opened in 2003. The county took it back, looked at it. They made an agreement that's acceptable both sides, and we're going to do that. It calls for us to have complete and total responsibility for employment, for operation of the museum on a daily basis, but also for some insurance coverage that we do not have, and we're seeking that right now. As soon as we have that in place, we don't want anyone to have a problem here with insurance. We don't want to have a problem with insurance. When that's taken care of, we'll go back to normal operating hours.
All right.